We're going to play 82 overtime games, aren't we?
Sucker bleu. I don't want to overreact.
What was that?
This is going to be a good year.
Not this game. The best game ever. Hello and welcome to Hawks Recap. Game number 4 is over and done with for the 2018-2019 Chicago Blackhawks season as they pick up a disappointing 1 point on the road against Minnesota. They lose by a score of 3-4 in overtime. And although getting a point on the road is always a nice thing, this one kind of feels wasted. Now, the Blackhawks got outshot 46-30 in this game, and if you look at that and that alone, you might say, well, maybe they didn't really deserve to win this game, and they're lucky to have gotten a point. I beg to differ. Yeah, Cam Ward was outstanding. He was stellar in this game, and he definitely covered up for the mistakes that the defense was making many times throughout the game. But the Hawks had a 2-goal lead. They gave that away. Then they had a 1-goal lead, and then they had the 1-goal lead with a wide-open net, empty net, and they failed to score. They get the penalty, though, so they go on a power play with a little over a minute left with a 1-goal lead, and that's game over. Like, there's no way a team should be able to tie the game up with that situation. That's where you just play four corners, run the clock out, get your first regulation win of the year. But they don't. They don't. Wild find a way to tie the game up shorthanded, and then they end up winning in overtime. That just can't happen. Like, you have to get 2 points in that situation. I don't care if it's not pretty hockey. You run that clock out. This is not like you're, playing four corners, playing keep away with half a period left. This is a minute left in a game with a 1-goal lead. You protect that puck. You hang on to that puck. And they didn't. And they lost a point because of it. The first period was great for the Hawks. They came out flying. It really showed that they had 3 days off in between games. They looked rested. They looked fresh. They were coming at the Wild, and they were just basically skating circles around them. Wild couldn't get anything going. Even though the Wild ended up outshooting the Hawks in that first period, the Hawks were the dominant team until about maybe 5 minutes left in the first period. I think that's really where the Wild got most of those shots, but for the majority of that period, Blackhawks dominated, and it showed up on the scoreboard as well. Halfway through the period, Jonathan Toews gets a feed from DeBrincat in the neutral zone, and he just blows by and powers by Matt Dumba, creates a 2-on-1 situation, then stops, lets Suter go flying by, and then he just passes it over to DeBrincat on the far side, and he does what he always does. He scores that goal, and the Hawks are up 1-0. About 3 minutes later, that line's out there again. They have offensive zone time. DeBrincat has the puck. He gets his shot blocked, but the puck finds Toews in the slot area. He kind of backhands it over to Kahun, who's just below the dot, and he just rips it top shelf over Dubnyk. Ooh, perfectly placed shot for his first career NHL goal. I told you in the last recap that Kahun's been getting some great chances, and it was only a matter of time before he scored. He does it right here in the first period and puts the Hawks up 2-0. So everything's looking great for the Hawks. They're flying high, and then with about 5 minutes left in the period, the Wild kind of pick it up, thinking, you know what, we should probably play some hockey too. They do. They hand the Blackhawks into their own zone for a while there. They get some really great chances, but Cam Ward comes up really big in numerous situations, and the Hawks go into the second period with a 2-goal lead. The second period, however, seemed to be a far cry from the first, as the Hawks didn't come out with any intensity. It seemed like the last 5 minutes of the first period just kind of carried over into the entire second period, and we saw a lot of that from the Hawks last season. That was definitely concerning, and, well, it led to the Minnesota Wild coming back in this game. A little under 7 minutes left in the second period. The Blackhawks do a poor job getting the puck out. Wild take control of it. Zucker does a good job fending off some defenders, takes it wide around. Meanwhile, Eric Staal and Ruda are just kind of battling each other. They both kind of trip each other and fall down. Eric Staal gets up first, and he finds himself all alone. On the back door, Zucker finds him. He taps it into a wide open net. Nothing Ward could do there. I saw Ruda kind of complain like, hey, I got tripped, where's the call? But I don't think really a call should be there. They were both, jostling for a position, and Eric Staal kind of just took advantage of the situation. And now it's a 1-goal game. Then late in the period, like really late in the period, as kind of a sign of things to come, the Wild with offensive zone time. They get the puck out front. Zucker finds a way to put it in past Ward with 3 seconds left in the period. The Hawks defense playing way too soft during that entire sequence, basically just standing around covering ice. And to give up a goal, the tying goal with 3 seconds left in the period, that sucks. That just sucks. This game goes into the third period tied 2 goals apiece. Got to find a way to regain momentum here. And what better way to do that than by going to the power play when you've been 0 for 10 this season with your power play. Doesn't matter. Kane did break at one-timer. Boom! Hawks have the lead. Make it 1 for 11, or ended up being 1 for 15. The Hawks had a couple other power plays and didn't cash into it, so it was 1 for 15 at the end of this game. But Hawks up 3-2, and things are looking pretty decent now. The Wild weren't going away, though. They still had some really great chances, but Cam Ward was standing on his head, denying everything in sight. And then with about 1.5, 2 minutes left to go in the game, the Wild decided to pull their goalie, and this is when things just went south. Hawks win a defensive zone draw to get the puck. Tays does a great job getting the puck out of the zone. He kind of spins around, gets it over to Camp, who has the neutral zone to play with, gets the puck to the blue line, then just kind of gets mauled by Granlund, who had just an atrocious game, but draws a penalty. Now, it was an empty net, and there was a penalty called. Some people might be thinking that should be an automatic goal, but from what I recall, from what I remember of the rules, and if you can find it, I haven't looked it up. If you can find it and can prove me wrong, feel free to do that in the comment section below. But from my memory, if it serves me correctly here, it's only an automatic goal if you're on a breakaway with a empty net, which in this case Kemp wasn't. He had about 3 guys around him. Now if he wouldn't have gotten held there by Granlund, he could have released a shot and maybe it would have gone in the net and this game would be over, but that wasn't the case. So the Hawks go to a power play with about 1:17 left. That's a couple nail downs. This game is over. There's no way you should lose this game up by a goal in this situation, but the Hawks find a way. The Wild get the puck, they dump it in, they pull their goalie again, and then again, the Hawks play way too soft in their own zone. Wild get the puck on net. Ward does a good job stopping a couple, and then Suter kind of bangs home a rebound with 23 seconds left, sending us into overtime for the 4th straight game. 3.5 minutes into overtime, Zucker would get a breakaway. He would go forehand, backhand, open up Ward, and slip it in 5-hole, and the Wild complete the comeback and win this one 4-3. So yeah, getting a point on the road is always nice, and I'll take that every single time. However, there's no way they should have even let this game go to overtime. This was essentially a wasted effort. And the Hawks had some great efforts out there. First and foremost, Cam Ward, stellar performance, best performance as a Hawk. I know we're only 4 games in, but much better than the previous 3 games he played. And it's the type of performance that you expect to get a win from. Then you have Cahoon getting his first career NHL goal. That top line of Tays, DeBrincat, Cahoon, they're scoring right now. They're clicking, and you got to be able to feed off that. You got to be able to get wins from that. Then you have Fortin, who got called up because of Martinson's injury, making his NHL debut. He's kind of been a bubble player for a while, just never seemed to be able to make it out of training camp. Now gets a shot in this one, and he's flying around. He looks great. He's making his case pretty strongly to be kept on this roster for the time being. And right now, with the effort he showed in this game, I'm thinking, why not throw him on that Schmaltz and Kane second line and let that speed kill teams? Seriously. I don't know what's going on with Saad. He's just not playing to his ability. He has another level, and he can play at another level. He's just not. And I don't know if it's just a confidence thing, a mental thing, or what. But it's just not there for him right now. And right now it seems like maybe we need to just kind of drop him down to the third line and maybe slot in a guy like Fortin on that second line and just those top 2 lines just let her rip. And one other note I wanted to say is that the last 4 minutes of the game were kind of weird to me because it seemed like Patrick Kane was out there the entire time. It seemed like they were double shifting him, and then obviously he went out on the power play. But then it came to overtime, and he just didn't have any juice left. Like, he was essentially playing about 5 straight minutes there. It seemed like he got mismanaged, and it's easy to criticize that as a guy sitting on the couch rather than somebody behind the bench, but that just seemed weird to me. So up next, the Hawks come home to face the St. Louis Blues. Hopefully they can kind of put this one behind them a little bit and move on to try and get their first home victory of the season. It will also be Duncan Keith's 1,000th career NHL game, so there'll probably be a ceremony and all that jazz. Fun fact, I will be going to that game, so that's fun. I definitely didn't really realize that it would be Duncan Keith's 1,000th game when I bought tickets back when they originally went on sale. And I wasn't really thinking about it until Eddie Olczyk mentioned it during the broadcast in this one. And yeah, like I've never been to a milestone type of game, so that's really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. Should be a good time. With that, thank you so much for watching this episode of Hawks Recap. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Like, share, and subscribe. If you want to go above and beyond in supporting me, I have links to my Patreon and my shop down in the description. If you're at the game, feel free to say hi if you see me. But until then, most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.